In the beginning, before Eve, there was another. Her name was Lilith. It's a name that haunts the shadows of theology, both magnetic and terrifying. You've probably heard the most famous version of her story. She was the rebellious first wife of Adam, a woman of incredible beauty and frightening resolve, who fled the Garden of Eden because she refused to submit to him. She chose exile over subservience, creating a legacy of defiance that has echoed for centuries. But what if I told you that story, the one we all think we know, is just one chapter in a much older and stranger saga? To find the original Lilith, we have to travel back way before the Garden of Eden, thousands of years earlier, to the windswept plains of ancient Mesopotamia. There, whispered on clay tablets and etched into incantation bowls, we find her true origin. And in those ancient lands, Lilith wasn't a woman at all, but a terrifying spirit of the night. Number 1. The ancient Mesopotamian night demon. Long before any biblical scribe put ink to parchment, Lilith's name was known and feared. Her story likely begins in Sumer, Akkad, and Babylon, where she wasn't a single person, but a class of spirits known as the Lilith. These were night demons and wind spirits tied to storms, disease, and death. Her very name is thought to come from a Sumerian word for spirit, or an Akkadian term for a female demon. The Lilith was seen as succubi, who preyed on men in their sleep, and as spectral phantoms who targeted women in childbirth and stole newborn infants from their beds. For thousands of years, she was seen as a winged demoness, a sinister force of the night that preyed on the vulnerable. Archaeologists have dug up ancient amulets from Mesopotamia, made for the specific purpose of warding her off. A chilling reminder of how real this terror was to the people of the ancient world. While many scholars debate the direct lineage, the echoes of this figure are undeniable. A later addition to the epic describes a dark-made Lilith who builds her home in the trunk of a sacred tree, a shrieking, vampiric demon who has to be driven away. While scholars are divided on if this is our Lilith, the description is certainly on brand. Some also see a family resemblance to another Mesopotamian demon, Lameshtu, a monstrous goddess with a lion's head, also known for killing infants. This was the first Lilith, a specter, a force of chaos, a name used to explain life's unexplainable tragedies like infant mortality, stillbirth, and things that go bump in the night. She was a demon long before she was ever human. So how did this Mesopotamian nightflyer find her way into the Garden of Eden and across cultures until it found a new, explosive life in the hands of Jewish scribes? Number 2. The transformation in Jewish folklore. For centuries, Lilith remained a figure on the fringes. In Isaiah 34-14, the verse describes a desolate, ruined landscape haunted by wild beasts and demons, and among them, it says, "The Lilith shall repose there," but it's not what you might think. Most modern scholars and translations agree the word Lilith here isn't a proper name, but a general term for a night creature or screech owl, a clear nod to her predatory, nocturnal roots in Mesopotamia. She's not a character. She's just another desert dweller. Her grand entrance onto the world stage wouldn't happen until much, much later, between the 8th and 10th centuries CE, in a controversial and satirical medieval Jewish text called the Alphabet of Ben Sira. It's in this text that we finally get the full, dramatic story of Lilith as Adam's first wife. According to the Alphabet of Ben Sira, the story was created to solve a biblical puzzle. Genesis 1 says that God created man and woman at the same time, in his image. But Genesis 2 tells a different story. Adam was made first from dust, and Eve was later formed from his rib. To explain this discrepancy, the author of Ben Sira offered a radical idea. The woman from Genesis 1 wasn't Eve, it was Lilith. The text says God created Lilith from the same earth as Adam, making them equals. And it was this very equality that sparked the first fight in human history. The argument, as the text explicitly states, was over who would be on top during sex. Adam insisted on the dominant position, declaring, "I will not lie beneath you, but only on top. For you are fit only to be in the bottom position, while I am to be the superior one." Lilith's response was a history-altering declaration of independence. She shot back, "We are equal to each other, inasmuch as we were both created from the earth." When Adam wouldn't budge, Lilith refused to submit. In a final act of defiance, she spoke the ineffable name of God, a powerful and secret name, which gave her the power to grow wings and fly away, leaving Adam and the Garden of Eden in her dust. Adam, horrified, prayed to God, who sent 3 angels, Senoi, Sansonoi, and Samangelof, to bring her back. They found her by the Red Sea, where she had already started bearing countless demonic children. The angels gave her God's ultimatum: return to Adam, or 100 of her children would die every day. Lilith refused. She accepted the horrific punishment, choosing to suffer the daily loss of her offspring, rather than return to a life of subtraction. Enraged and vengeful, she vowed to prey on human infants, but she made one concession. She swore to the angels that if she ever saw an amulet bearing their 3 names, she would have no power over that child. And just like that, the ancient Mesopotamian night demon was fused with the defiant first woman. This brilliant tale explained the purpose of protective amulets for newborns, and cemented Lilith's new identity as a child-stealing demoness, born from a righteous rebellion. Number 3. The demoness and mother of monsters. After the alphabet of Ben Sera, Lilith's demonic reputation only grew. While the tale of Adam's first wife became her most famous story, other Jewish texts, especially the mystical works of Kabbalah, expanded her mythology into something far more terrifying. She appears in the Talmud, where rabbis warned men not to sleep alone in a house, lest they be seized by Lilith. In these texts, her sexuality, the source of her conflict in Eden, became her primary weapon. She was no longer just a threat to children, but to men as well. Lilith was cast as the ultimate succubus, a beautiful seductress who visits men in their sleep to steal their seed and create her own demonic children. She became the embodiment of lust and uncontrolled female sexuality, everything that fell outside the bounds of sanctioned marriage. The Zohar, the foundational work of Kabbalah, elevates her to a truly cosmic status. Here, she isn't just some rogue demon. She's a powerful demonic queen, often described as the consort of Samiel, an archangel frequently associated with Satan. Together, they are said to rule the Sitra Achra, the other side or realm of evil. She becomes the dark, chaotic counterpart to the Shekinah, the feminine, nurturing presence of God. Lilith represents impurity and everything that opposes divine order. Some Kabbalistic interpretations even suggest Lilith was the serpent in the Garden of Eden, the one who tempted Eve and brought about humanity's fall. While this isn't a universally held belief, and is more the product of later mystical readings, it shows just how deeply she became intertwined with the very fabric of sin. From a Mesopotamian spirit to Adam's defiant wife to a queen of demons, Lilith's demonization was now complete. She had become the embodiment of deep-seated cultural fears about female autonomy, sexuality, and spiritual rebellion. Number 4. The modern reinterpretation for centuries. This is where Lilith's story ended. She was a villain, a monster, a cautionary tale, but myths aren't set in stone. They're living things that we reshape to reflect our own times. And in the 20th and 21st centuries, Lilith's story got its most dramatic makeover yet. The very things that once made her a villain, her fierce independence, her refusal to be subservient, her unapologetic sexuality, were suddenly re-examined through a new lens. Feminist writers and thinkers looked back at the alphabet of Ben Sera and saw not a demon, but a hero. They saw the first woman to demand equality. They saw a figure who chose a cursed life over one of subjugation. Lilith was no longer a symbol of sin, but a symbol of freedom. She was reclaimed as a feminist icon, a powerful representation of the struggle against patriarchal oppression. Her story became an allegory for every woman punished for being too loud, too ambitious, or too unwilling to play a secondary role. The Jewish feminist magazine Lilith, founded in the 1970s, was named in her honor, and the legendary Lilith Fair music festival of the 1990s cemented her place in pop culture as a symbol of female strength and creativity. In modern Wicca and other occult traditions, she's often revered as a dark goddess representing sexual liberation, untamed nature, and the powerful, hidden aspects of the feminine. She is the wild woman archetype, a call to embrace the parts of ourselves that society deems unacceptable. Of course, this modern take isn't without its critics. Many scholars point out that reclaiming Lilith as a hero often requires ignoring the thousands of years she was depicted as a malevolent, child-killing demon. But it's that very complexity that makes her so endlessly fascinating. Lilith's journey is one of the most incredible evolutions in mythology. What do you think? Is she a demon to be feared, a feminist icon to be celebrated, or something else entirely? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this trip into the hidden corners of history, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, so you don't miss our next exploration of forgotten myths. From a shrieking desert spirit in ancient Sumer to the first rebel in Eden, from a demonic queen in mystical texts to a modern icon of female power, Lilith has worn many faces. Her story is a palimpsest, with each era writing its own fears and desires onto her identity. She is a mirror, reflecting what we value, what we fear, and how our understanding of power, gender, and divinity has shifted over 4,000 years. Lilith endures because she represents something primal and persistent, the defiant spirit that refuses to be broken, the voice that will not be silenced, and the untamable wildness that lurks in the shadows of our most structured traditions. Whether you see her as a demon, a goddess, or a hero, one thing is certain: Lilith's story is far from over. It continues to be rewritten, reinterpreted, and reclaimed, proving that some legends never truly die. They just wait in the darkness for us to find them again.